Pakistan is going through outbreak, and considering this condition, Pakistan is fortunate enough to be a part of this scheme that is called as GSP Plus, that is based on 27 UN conventions related to human rights, good governance, environment protection, and many other related to human development. Pakistan has been availing the duty-free exports with the European Union, mainly. Pakistan has been availing the duty-free exports with the European Union, mainly in apparel, textile, and agriculture sector. And according to the International Labour Organization, GSP Plus has improved the decent work standard and strengthened the labor rights, along with the amendments and laws and their implementation. As we know that GSP Plus has certain conditions, so it has sort of created an atmosphere and environment where people or those countries that are complying to its rules, they have to follow what is being what they have signed up for. So many policy interventions like the Domestic Violence Protection Bill and many others have been passed in Pakistan even to secure human development, as in the conventions of the GSP Plus scheme, which is truly a sector of growth for Pakistan. However, Pakistan is still facing multiple challenges in complying with the conventions of GSP Plus scheme, for instance, good governance, and to eliminate corruption from all exports. We see that Pakistan has been facing this problem of corruption, and to eradicate corruption has been a very huge task in Pakistan. However, Pakistani government is trying to make such policies and to trying to eliminate it as much as possible. Pakistan remains a part of GSP Plus till December 2023, and that brings an end to increasing its chances of having more exports and increasing its export competitiveness in the later future as well. We need to show more concern towards committing to the conventions of GSP Plus, not only to boost our exports, but to stabilize the breaking economy that we're having today. With this, I've hopefully laid the background of our discussion, and now I'd like to move towards since we haven't been joined by Dr. Munaza, we'll move towards Dr. Amir. So, sir, I have this question that what are the arrangements or mechanisms in place to monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of the policies addressing the sustainability implications of trade under the GSP Plus scheme? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Munaza, for highlighting such an important issue at this time when Pakistan already facing many problems, challenges, our industry facing many challenges, and particularly related to GSP Plus, we are facing many issues, not only related to industry particularly, but related to GSP Plus. For example, if you have, as you have rightly said, that good governance and some other related issues, these are pertinent to GSP Plus. But apart from that, there are some other problems which are Pakistan industry facing. For example, some quality and standards which are related to human rights and labor rights. So, European Union back in 1995 till today, under WTO umbrella, they have initiated various non-tariff barriers, particularly related to Pakistan and generally for the rest of the world as well. The European Union so far initiated around 800 plus sanitary and phytosanitary related cases against Pakistan and for the rest of the world. And similarly, these SPS related issues are particularly related to human rights, labor rights, and governance, and then water, environment crisis, and all these things. Another quality and standard related issue is technical barriers to trade. Another agreement which Pakistan signed back in 1995 under WTO umbrella. So far, European Union has initiated around 1,500 cases against Pakistan and against rest of the world. If we just talk about GSP Plus regime starting from 2013, so European Union has initiated around 500 cases under SPS related to human rights and labor rights. And related to technical barriers to trade, European Union has initiated around 800 cases. But luckily, after start of this GSP plus, European Union has not initiated any case against Pakistan. It means that we are gaining a lot under this GSP plus because European Union has not initiated any non-tariff barrier related to human rights and labor rights. But earlier 6 cases which European Union initiated under sanitary and phytosanitary agreements, which are related to labor rights and human rights. These are very important and they have cumulative effect on our export to European Union. So, we know that we have market concentration issues, like European Union has been our major trade partner. And we have also a problem of product concentration, that we have a small basket of products which we are offering to the European Union and to our other trading partners. So in the presence of this scenario, so these 6 issues are very important, and these are need to be ratified, and government should look at these 6 cases which have cumulative effect on our export to this regional trade. Pakistan has not, on the other side, if we see the other side of the picture, that how much cases Pakistan has initiated against European Union imports, like what we are importing from European Union. So what preparation has Pakistan made to protect imports from European Union? So this is very surprising and shocking that Pakistan has not issued any sanitary and phytosanitary case against European Union. Since 1995 till 2022, Pakistan has not initiated any sanitary and phytosanitary agreement. While on the other side, technical related barriers, Pakistan has issued only 170 cases against European Union and at large for the rest of the world. If we talk about this GSP plus scenario, so Pakistan, since 2013, Pakistan has not initiated any SPS or TBT related non-tariff measure against European Union. So from our side, this is very a harmony or friendly, or we can say that without preparation, we are doing this kind of trade with European Union. But on the other side, the European Union, they have worked well on this scenario, and they have initiated thousands of cases of non-tariff barriers against Pakistan. So we are lacking far behind on this scenario, that why Pakistan has not initiated any case of SPS, and a few cases of technical barriers to trade we have initiated against the world. So these cases largely includes health of living organs like plants, human rights, human health, and water crisis, and then overall environmental degradation. So on that side, Pakistan has a very dark picture to show that we have not initiated any case on this side. So this is one side we can say that which is necessary to be catered. And this is a main scenario which the stakeholders and government particularly should look at it, that why we are not initiating any cases. During one platform at SDPI, one official stated earlier that we have informally initiating agriculture-related cases, non-tariff measures, but formally under the umbrella of WTO, which is a very, a multilateral trading mechanism body, and they have very uniformed and refined non-tariff measures. They all the time they are initiating. तो वो जो प्लेटफॉर्म है WTO का, उस प्लेटफॉर्म पे हमने अभी तक कोई भी केस इनिशिएट नहीं किया, जो कि पाकिस्तान के लिए एंड फॉर particularly for our industrialist, this is a very dark picture to show. So some other issues related to this other GST plus areas, for example, safety of journalists and impunity cases during the GSP plus from 2012 till today in 2022. UNESCO has taken care of this subject in Pakistan, and they have worked with some civil society in Pakistan like IMS and IRADA and some other organization. And they reviewed this whole process of safety of journalists in Pakistan. And they concluded in that 10-year review that safety of journalists is also not showing a good picture in Pakistan. Similarly, minority issues, which comes under the human rights issues in Pakistan, that also need to be addressed under this GSP plus. Recently, you have seen that in last week, Higher Education Commission has banned Festival of Holi to be celebrated in various universities in Pakistan. So these are some other aspects which comes under GSP plus umbrella, but still we are lacking far behind in this perspective. Then I'm over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your insightful remarks. And totally, I agree that quality standards of human and labor rights in Pakistan is very low. That we need to, be considerate about. And when we talk about Pakistan, we see that initiatives are being launched. And I agree that when it comes to the workability and the functionality of things, we see that the Pakistan is low at, very slow at a very slow pace. And it is sort of that needs to be boosted, just to, not to increase the export competitiveness in the country, but also to increase market demand for Pakistani products in the foreign land, and also to stabilize the breaking economy that we are having today. Thank you so much, sir. Now moving forward, I'd move towards Ms. Maheen Rehan. Maheen, can you please point out that how GSP plus status has helped Pakistan to increase its exports in the European Union? Over to you.
Thank you, Zainab. Thank you. Such an interesting question. Yes, definitely that GSP Plus scheme has definitely helped Pakistan to increase its exports through European Union. The European Union support Pakistan integration in the world economy and its sustainable economic development by granting its GSP Plus trade preferences. European Union is second most important trading partner, accounting for 14% of the Pakistan total trade in 2020 and absorbing 28% of Pakistan total exports. So yes, it's a great initiative. In 2020, Pakistan was the European Union 42nd largest trading partner in goods, accounting for 0.3% of European Union trade. And Pakistan export to European Union are dominated by textiles, clothing, accounting for around 75.2% of Pakistan's total export to European Union. And Pakistan's import from European Union are mainly comprised of machinery and transport equipment, as well as chemicals. From a decade, we have seen that EU 27 imports from Pakistan have almost doubled. That is around 3,072 sterlings to 5,537 million. So the growth of imports from Pakistan has been particularly fast. And in order to maintain this GSP plus, Pakistan has to keep ratification and effectively implement the 427 international conventions on human and labor rights, then environmental protection and good governance. This is closely monitored by European Commission and also under permanent scrutiny by European Union member state and European Parliament, as well as civil society. And recently, on the 22nd of June, a delegation of European Union has also visited Pakistan to evaluate the compliance with the European Union, with the UN conventions, that whether how much progress has been made and how much is left. So things are moving on. This will be very helpful for Pakistan to, as this GSP Plus scheme is going to expire on 31st December this year. So for the next 10 years, they have planned another scheme, which is also some sort of GSP plus trade, GSP plus scheme, but as it has some changes in it according to tariff rates and other things, because as we have seen that due to the exit of England has exited this European Union, so they have started their own trade, their own scheme, and GSP Plus scheme has some other initiatives. Although these two are different, but GSP Plus scheme is also offering concessionary tariff rate that will definitely Pakistan help to improve its export to the European Union countries, as they are the major share, a major share of goods Pakistan export to European Union is composed of clothing, home textiles, and imports are basically machinery and chemicals. So Pakistan mostly export destination in the European Union for Pakistani products are Germany, Spain and Netherlands, France and Belgium. So it will definitely increase Pakistan imports to these countries. So under the GSP Plus scheme, European Union countries have gained, but 12 EU member states gained more than 100% rise, is because we have seen that in Pakistan we have low cost of labor. So that will make our products more comparatively low cost for the other countries. So these are some points that I want to mention.
Can I add Sanam into Maheen's comments?
Yes, sure.
Maheen very rightly said that they have assessed the last 10 years. But during their assessment, they have raised some institutional gap issues. They have also raised during their assessments some scarcity of human and financial resources, which we need to build the capacity of our industry as well as our other stakeholders, including the government officials. As I said, that this is the prime responsibility of the government to initiate non-tariff measures from the platform of their ambassador residing in WTO in Geneva. But so far they have not done so well because they have not initiated any. So similarly, they also raise the issues of security, not only for the general public, but particularly for the industries which are working in Pakistan and they are exporting to the rest of the world. They also stress on the need of some more ISOs related to security measures and which are pertinent and important for the industry. Thank you, Zainab.
Thank you, sir, for your intervention, and surely I agree with you as well. And so thank you, Maheen, for your insightful remarks. You very well said that GSP Plus status offering a concerning concessionary tariff will help and has helped and will be helping Pakistan to increase its exports, not only only in the European Union, but overall as well. Create an environment that Pakistan exports will be boosting shortly, inshallah, soon. Moving forward, we have been joined by Dr. Munazza Jabeen. Ma'am, I welcome you again in the session, and I request you to shed some light on how do you see that the key areas that are defined in the GSP Plus scheme policies, they align with the Pakistan's trade scenario for growth and development, and how Pakistan can improve its trade relations with the European Union. Over to you, madam.
The GSP Plus schemes focuses on promoting sustainable development, good governance, labor rights, and environmental protection. These areas are crucial for Pakistan's trade relations with the European Union and align with its goals for economic growth and development. The key areas are defined in the GSP Plus scheme policies align with Pakistan trade scenario for growth and development in several ways, such as the GSP Plus scheme encourages Pakistan to diversify its export base and reduce dependence on a few sectors. This aligns with Pakistan's objective of promoting economic diversification, expanding its manufacturing capabilities, and venturing into new export sectors. By focusing on product diversification and innovation, Pakistan can capture opportunities in the European Union market. The GSP Plus scheme places emphasis on labor rights, including the elimination of child labor and forced labor, as well as compliance with international labor standards. Pakistan can improve its trade relations by strengthening its labor laws, ensuring fair working conditions, and promoting social dialogues between workers, employers, and the government. Implementing effective measures to address labor rights issues can enhance Pakistan's reputation as a possible trading partner. The GSP Plus scheme encourages sustainable development and environmental protection. Pakistan can improve its trade relation by strengthening environmental regulations, promoting sustainable practices in industries, and investing in cleaner technologies. This would not only align with the GSP Plus requirements, but also contribute to sustainable growth, reduce pollution, and enhance the competitiveness of Pakistani products in the European Union markets. The GSP Plus scheme promotes good governance and respect for human rights. Pakistan can enhance its trade relations by ensuring transparencies, promoting the rule of law, and protecting human rights. Strengthening institutions, addressing corruption, improving the ease of doing business can create an enabling environment for trade and investment, further attracting European Union markets. Pakistan can work towards improving market access conditions for its exports to the European Union. This includes reducing trade barriers, simplifying customer procedures, and enhancing trade facilitation measures. By streamlining trade processes and promoting efficient logistics, Pakistan can improve its competitiveness and attract more European Union buyers. And meeting standard international standards and certification is crucial for assessing the European Union markets. Pakistan can invest in quality control mechanism, adhere to product safety standards, and obtain relevant certification. This will help build trust with the European Union consumers and facilitate market and entry for Pakistani products. Pakistan can improve its trade relation with the European Union by enhancing collaboration and engagement with European Union stakeholders. This includes participating in trade exhibitions, business and delegations, and bilateral forums to promote Pakistani products, exchange market information, and establish strong business networks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Monaza. You have very rightly said that Pakistan can improve its exports with the European Union by strengthening environmental relations, investment in cleaner technologies, and working on good governance for sure. And also by ensuring transparencies and promoting the rule of law. And with this, we come to an end to our first round and moving towards the round two. Sir, I'm back to you, Dr. Amir Mustafa. Sir, I have this question that how do you think that the role academia can play in creating awareness and supporting the policy objectives related to the GSP Plus scheme that we have? And what initiatives or awareness campaigns should be in place to promote sustainable practices in trade with European Union? If you could please share a few remarks on this. Over to you, sir. Sir, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Zainab. Zainab, in academia, we have a large number of manpower with us to work with on these important issues. For example, we have number of students working on various themes on trade, environment, political science, foreign policies, and all these things. I myself now working on an HEC project of NRPU, which is particularly working on that how Pakistan can increase its foreign policy, good relations with European Union, and how economic agenda can be incorporated in our foreign policy. So this project is particularly initiated by our International Relations Department and myself from Economics Department working with that department, and that is like a kind of bilateral agreement between our two departments, and we are working from the both sides, like political science side and IR side, international relations side, and economic side of this theme. In this scenario, that how academia can work on this. Academia is nowadays, after the HEC has initiated number of projects, and they have launched number of universities across Pakistan, and they are working on this MPhil and PhD degrees, and they are offering in various universities, and this is very hard and strong and concrete research they are producing. So at the time, there is a dire need that their the thesis they are producing. So at the initial stage, if they work closely with the Ministry of Commerce and the European Union and the other stakeholders like SDPI, UNESCO, and UNDP, UNCTAD, ITC, WTO. So if they work less closely with these stakeholders as well for the serious implications of the GSP Plus, so academia's role can be more important and concrete in this whole scenario. Similarly, HEC also offering various long-term and short-term research projects for its public sector and private sector universities. And they also ask universities to work with various stakeholders who are close to that particular area where that project goes. So academia can work not only on these GSP Plus, but it's a wider dissemination and its advocacy, and plus its serious implications not only for the government, but for all the for the betterment of all the stakeholders. So they can bring very serious output, and they can bring very serious policy recommendations for the industrialist and for the government. So in this whole scenario, HEC role is also very important. But on the other side, last week, as I earlier said, that HEC also banned holy festivals in public sector universities. So if we see from the lens of GSP Plus, so this is very daunting for this at a crucial time when this whole GSP Plus process is turning and taking a new ride for its implementation, and Pakistan is now very interested to avail this policy, because we all know that this is a very favorable policy, like we are availing MFN tariffs offered by the European Union, and Pakistan gaining a lot, like we have seen, and you initially said that 78% increase of bilateral trade has occurred during this GSP Plus regime. So this is the net gain which we have already achieved from this whole process. So at the time of crucial economic crisis, when we have multiple crises of economy, and plus there are other socio-economic crises which are boosting this GSP Plus, as Dr. Minazza rightly initiated and highlighted, some socio-economic issues related to governance, corruption, and human and labor rights. So these issues should also be addressed by the academia in their research, particularly which they are doing their serious academic research, and to keep it in line with the research conducted by the government. So at the initial stages, when the proposals are prepared, so at that initial stages, all the stakeholders should be kept in mind, and they should be invited to review their proposals once before the start of their academic research. So that academic research should not be only produced for shelving the thesis, but to make it more practical and be more useful and meaningful for all the stakeholders working for the GSP Plus. Over to you, Zan.
Thank you, sir, for sharing with us an update on academia. And we surely, I agree that we need, and I'm very glad to hear that HEC is taking some initiatives to create a linkage between academia and industry that we surely need today, which is direly needed and direly need of the day, our time. And you've rightly highlighted that industry-based research is a dire need of time. That because since we don't have practicality in our academia, so students kind of lack creating and having an understanding, and then they're not even aware of what is happening in the country and what is GSP Plus. If we randomly ask the student, they're not aware. So, however, if we practically involve them into how things are happening, what their research will be involving things. So it will sort of create an environment to boost their, not only boost their confidence, but also create an impact in the overall GSP Plus scheme, and bring more schemes to our country that will be helpful in creating an demand in the export competitiveness of our nation, inshallah. Moving forward to Ms. Maheen Rehan. Maheen, can you please put some light on what are the constraints and limitations that affect Pakistan and European Union trade relations, considering the times today? Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Zainab. Definitely, that GSP scheme has also facilitated Pakistan in improving its trade with European countries. But with that, we have some constraint while trading with the European Union. That includes Pakistan goods lack competitiveness in the international market. So this is the major constraint that we are facing right now, since we have facing a shortfall of energy supplies. So this is a big hurdle in this. As last year, I guess in 2022, Pakistan imports to the European countries have improved very much. For example, if you look at it is just because the government provide an initiative of supplying energy to the industry at a regionally competitive tariff rate. So that will improve the exports of textile sector to around 2-3% textile imports have increased. So there is it is a very large, it is a very huge impact that has created just by changing the energy tariff, facilitating the energy supplies. So Pakistan actually, when we have in Pakistan, we have high energy cost that will eventually increase the cost of our products, and it becomes less competitive as compared to our regional competitors like Bangladesh, India, and other South Asian countries. So it is very challenging for us to compete with the products of these countries on international market. So at energy prices, we have energy shortfall issues. Along with that, we have another issue that we are facing is the over-reliance on the limited number of goods. So we have facing this issue that majorly our imports to our exports to the European Union, European nations, mainly composed of textile sectors like apparels and these kind of apparel items or clothing. But we have focused on this sector only. We need to diversify our goods that we are currently exporting to these countries. Currently our country's export basket is very limited. that is hampering the growth or economic growth of the country. So we need to diversify this. We need to give incentive to the other sectors of the industry, so that these industry will also become so that the exports of these countries will also increase. So we need to diversify our export basket. We need to diversify the products which we are exporting, and we need some initiative that should diversify our export basket. So basically, this over-reliance on the limited number of goods is basically discouraging Pakistani exporters to capture the market share in the European Union market. So this is also a problem. And another major problem is the high exchange rate. So our exchange rate is quite high. So the investors or industry is reluctant to invest in these. To invest in the industry, as we have seen that till date, the exchange rate is quite high. So investors don't find it profitable to invest in these sectors, and rather than this, they go for other options that are available. So major constraint we have facing this, and massive depreciation of Pakistani rupee is also hurting our exports. And then we have increased political and economic instability. Yes, Pakistan economic situation, we all know, is going through a very turmoil situation, and political instability is there. And you can see that we can see that there is no consensus, and from the view of industry, we don't see any direction in which direction that political will contribute, right? So we have facing these kind of issues. Like if we talk about that, which political party is coming, and which sector are they focusing? So these are the policy gaps, and these are some constraints that restricts our exports. These are some points that make exporters and industry to reluctant toward investing in these industries, in exporting sectors. And the other issue which we are facing is the human right violation affect trade relations. So human right violations is basically include in the GSP plus scheme convention, the key dimensions which therefore on which they are evaluating Pakistan. They have 4 dimensions, right? First one is human rights, and another is labor right, climate protection, and good governance. Actually, these 4 are interlinked. If anyone is violated, then that is basically violate the human rights. So this is major constraint that strongly implementation of human right is lacked in Pakistan. So which basically take our export at risk. And as we have seen that in 2010, Sri Lanka lost its GSP plus status just because illegally human right violation, and due to the carried out of the civil war decades ago. So these are some significant points that we need to work, and that is basically limiting our export to in the international market. Over to you, Zainab. Thank you.
Thank you, Maheen, for your insightful remarks. I know your viewpoint that Pakistani goods lack competitiveness in the international market, and surely we are overly relying over the limited goods that we have available. And the high exchange rate, political instability, human rights violations are affecting the trade relations in the country that must be addressed. And we surely need to address all these problems. Else there's no way that Pakistan will be losing the GSP status scheme. And now moving forward towards the last question from the round 2 to Dr. Manaza. Madam, if you could please share your thoughts on have there been any policy changes in response to the sustainability implications of the GSP plus scheme in the context of Pakistan, and how have these changes impacted the industries covered by the scheme and their sustainability practices? Over to you, madam.
The GSP plus scheme is actually an arrangement granted by the European union that allows to export certain products to the European Union markets with reduced or zero tariffs. To maintain eligibility for the scheme, Pakistan as a beneficiary country must comply with various international conventions related to human rights, labor rights, environmental sustainability, and good governance. This includes ratifying and effectively implementing conventions such as those from the International Labour Organization and the United Nations on various labor and environmental issues. For this, Pakistan submit periodic reports to the European Commission detailing its progress in implementing these conventions. This monitoring process helps to ensure that the industries covered by the schemes are making efforts to improve their sustainability practices. The government has taken important steps to introduce legislations to support the effective implementations of the conventions. For example, for human rights, Pakistan has ratified all 7 fundamental UN human rights conventions, which are included in the GSP plus regulations. Pakistan has passed a number of important laws which supports the effective implementation of core human rights treaties. This includes legislation that strengthens the rights of transgender persons, prevent domestic violence, restricts children marriage, among others. Transgender Person Act, Domestic Violence Bill, Journalist Welfare and Protection Bill, Human Property Rights Act, Protection of a Woman Against Violence Act are some legislation and property actions. And for labor rights, Pakistan has ratified all 8 International Labour Organization Convention required by GSP plus. Different initiatives are taken for labor rights, including the elimination of child labor and forced labor, as well as compliance with international labor standards such as increase in minimum wage, labor wages, enrollment of street children in schools, bounded labor act, etc. And for the environmental protection, Pakistan has ratified all relevant convention covered under the GSP plus and has stepped up its commitment to ensure effective implementation. Environmental Protection Bill, National Action Plan on Consumption and Production, Waste Management Policies are the initiatives taken by the government for environmental protection. Furthermore, addressing climate change is a focus area of the government. Pakistan also aims to reduce its emissions by 20% until 2030, and in order to address illegal trade of wildlife, the authorities cooperate with a number of trade holders, for example, WWF and local communities. And for good governance, capacities have been enhanced to effectively address corruption. Some national authorities, like the National Accountability Bureau, is encouraged to take a more universal approach on accountability. Awareness campaign against corruption is launched, and various platforms are being used to spread a message, say no to corruption. And then the comes the impact of GSP plus scheme on industries covered by the scheme in Pakistan would depend on the specific sectors involved. Industries that are covered by the scheme may face increased scrutiny and pressure to improve their sustainability practices to meet the required standard. This can lead to change in the policies, practices, and the regulation within these industries, and it is expected that these sustainability practices have influenced and encouraged improvements in labor rights, environmental practices, and social standards within these industries. However, these sustainability practices and impacts can vary across the different industries and companies, and some industries may have proactively adopted sustainability practices to align with international standards, while others may still face challenges in fully implementing and meeting the required sustainability criteria. That's all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Munaza. You have rightly pointed that we need to, the government of Pakistan needs to work on its, on labor rights, human rights, and other rights, as you have rightly pointed. And Pakistani government, as you have rightly said, that is working on securing transgender rights, bringing more initiatives like National Action Plan for environmental. Plans like environmental to secure environmental protection and for further addressing climate change. And Pakistan needs to address all those problems that we're facing, just to address the UN conventions that we have. To moving forward with this, we come to an end to our round 2, and now moving to our last round, that is round 3. I have a question that how do you think that what role the industry and the private sector can play all together in export diversification to improve trade under GSP Plus scheme and the new scheme for 2024 to 34 by the European Union? Along with this, I want you to address, if you could please share the top 2 policy recommendations that you have on the subject of our webinar, that is sustainability implications of our GSP Plus scheme in Pakistan. Over to you. I'll begin with it one by one and moving towards Dr. Amir, sir. Sir, if you could please share.
Okay, thank you, Zainab. So, if we just conclude this webinar and highlight some takeaways from this seminar. So first, and one very important is the earlier said non-tariff measures that we should take care of from the European Union side, which they have initiated against Pakistan, and to reciprocate it from our side, from Pakistan side, we should initiate certain non-tariff measures to address all human rights and labor rights, particularly just for an example, for the Journalist Safety Act, which so far initiated in Pakistan by the federal government and Sindh government, but rest of 3 governments of Punjab, KPK, and GB and Balochistan, they have not initiated so far. I mean, they are in process, but let's see that one they would finalize and then their implementation would start. But so far, with the help of UNESCO, some organizations like IMS and IRADA, they have worked with the government and they have initiated on serious work on Journalist Safety Act. Similarly, on child labor, women rights, and there are some other issues related to governance which need to be addressed by the government and all the other stakeholders. From academia side, if we just highlight that we can initiate various concrete and serious research to address this GSP Plus, and we can also do forecasting on it, that how this export diversification can be addressed. As earlier, Maheen was explaining that that market diversification is also a need of the time. So I'll just add into it that the value addition is also a problem from Pakistan side. Although we are only in a textile sector, we are exporting apparel, which is a value-added product. But some other products like surgical goods and sports equipment, which we are exporting to the rest of the world, they are not value-added products. In surgical goods, the one product of which we are selling and exporting to Germany of $9, sometimes we have to import it back from Germany at $35. So this is all because of the value addition which we are lacking behind and which European Union have already availed. So this is not only the case of one product and one country which is a part of European Union, but this is the case of all the products which we are exporting, like textile, surgical goods, leather commodities, and sports goods. So this value addition is another area which industrialists need to address. Thank you then.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now we move forward to Dr. Munazza. If you can please share your comments on this. Dr. Munazza, can you hear me? We can move to Maheen Rehan first.
So, as I said earlier, that we need to diversify our export basket. So, for that, we need to focus on the those sectors that are high performing. Because in this economic situation, we can't afford to invest in a specific sector that is not performing very high on something. So we need to facilitate those sectors that are high performing. So we have to follow the approach from the unbalanced approach to facilitate to diversify our export basket. So another thing, another suggestion which I want to give is that that we have reliance over to increase the export competitiveness, we have to work on the energy sector. For that, we need to just like during the COVID time, we have seen that the textile sector of Pakistan has shown remarkable progress. So for that, we need to address these kind of issues, that energy supplying on competitive rates. So we have so only the textile sector has benefited from that scheme. Which is very limited, which is very small amount. So we need to diversify. We need to make our export competitiveness. We have to work on these. We have to work on some energy supplies from different means like hydropower and other instrument like solar energy power plants, installing these kind of things. So for that, actually these initiatives will help to reduce the cost of our products, so that make our products more competitive in the international market. Other than that, we have another issue, that is high exchange rate. So for that, we need to for high exchange rate, State Bank should stop to print new money, and State Bank should also stop the smuggling of foreign currency. And another suggestion which I want to give is that regarding the human right. So we need to work on the labor laws, as we have set a minimum wage in our country, but it is not practically implicated. That is also a violation of human rights. And then we have bounded labor in our country. That is also a human right violation. So we need to work on these areas to improve the labor conditions, human rights. That will be basically beneficial for Pakistan. That will make Pakistan a better country for the scheme that will be launched after this GSP Plus scheme. So that are my few recommendations.
Thank you, Mahi. Thank you, Mahi. Moving forward, yes, sir. You wanted to add something?
Yeah, I just want to add into some Maheen's comments that she was just talking about the minimum wage rates, which we are already promulgated by the government, but in industry these are not intact. So there are actually two parts of industry: one a formal sector and one informal sector. So from the human rights lens, that minimum wage laws, these are to a larger extent are intact in the industry, in the formal sector. But the informal sector, which is related to the industry, these are some SMEs who are linked with the industry, like various cities like Sialkot, Hafizabad, and some smaller cities. So their informal sector, the minimum wage laws, these are not implemented in these areas. So this is also my suggestion on what Maheen.
Thank you, sir. We have marked your interventions shortly. Dr. Munazza, if you could add, please. She has probably lost the connection. And with all these insightful remarks and suggestions, we come to an end of our session. But before we conclude, I request all my attendees and dear colleagues to pen down my email address as shared in the chat box, zainabaloch@sdpi.org, and share their comments or any queries that they might have from our respective panelists, and I'll share their queries with the respective panelists, and I'll get back to them as soon as the responses are received. To conclude the session today, I'm thankful to the honorable panelists for the remarks and policy directions, which indeed has always been helpful in improving the policy agenda of SDPI. The team has taken notes and will be reverting back with the policy recommendations sought from today's discussion. A policy report will be extracted and shared with the honorable panelists for the reviews and inputs. Thank you again for joining us today. Have a good day.